All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello. And happy holidays, obviously. Yeah, decked out, right? If you haven't seen my videos recently and you're just watching Ask the King and you're like, holy crap, yeah, my office has been decked out like this for about a week and a half. Pretty nice, right? I'm fully into the holiday spirit, as you guys can see here. I'm ready for the holiday special Ask the King for 2017. I usually don't do this. Usually I do Ask the King on Thanksgiving, but this year I decided to mix things up a little bit, make things a little bit more holly and jolly for you. And I got so much Christmas themed content coming out in the next week. I think you guys are going to be overloaded with the holiday spirit, which is cool, all right? So first of all, today is December 21st, 2017. If you're not aware, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Easter. It is the winter, the winter solstice. Today is the first day of winter. Fall is over, and it is now winter here, at least in the United States of America, where I live. Where you live, maybe a little bit differently. I am aware in different parts of the world that seasons are at different times, depending on the polar bullshit and the sun spinning around the planets. Because that's what happens, right? The sun spins around the planets. That's what we still believe in 2017. So anyway, first day of winter. Pretty cool that I was able to time the beginning of my holiday festivities this year as the first day of winter. Pretty nice, right? Those who were watching this stream earlier, listen to some cool 8-bit Christmas music on pre-stream. I'll be playing that for the next few days, which is awesome. And I'm excited. I got so much holiday-themed stuff coming out for you guys in the next few days. Oh, my lights fell off the thing here. Here we go. I was going to say, can you see the lights on that side there? You couldn't see them because they had fallen off. Yeah, I'm pumped, all right? I'm geared and ready here to answer your questions. We got forum questions, we got Patreon questions, we got Twitter questions. We got all the questions for the past 2 months. A lot of them are actually holiday themed, which is nice. It's always nice to have holiday themed questions on a holiday themed show, right? Obviously, I will be doing a little bit of interruptions to the show to give shout outs to people who are cheering, subbing, and tipping, as this is a live stream show as well. So right now, I can say I came here to something for a 10-bit cheer, to Creepy Spaghetti for a 10-bit cheer, and also to Atlas Telemon for a 50-bit cheer. Atlas Telemon is upset because he says, Phil, how dare you? How dare you not wear the cowboy hat, the traditional cowboy hat during Ask the King? Now listen, I understand. Any other time of the year, I'd be wearing the cowboy hat. It's a tradition, right? It's an ongoing tradition. I mean, Ask the King. By the way, this is episode 68. I've been 68 episodes of Ask the King. That's a lot of friggin' episodes, man. And this show spanned. I mean, I started doing Ask the King. I believe it was either 2010 or 2011. So it's been a show spanning some 6 years at least. And I love it. And, I understand you like the cowboy hat, but being that this is a holiday time of the year and that this was a special holiday themed episode, I decided to go with the Christmas hat for this one, okay? If you're watching live on stream, about every 45 minutes or so, I'll be taking a break. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to split the show up into multiple parts, probably 3 parts. Usually is traditionally what I do for Ask the King. Sound good? All right. And by the way, yes, the next episode's episode 69. Okay, anyway. We'll talk about that as we get closer to the 69. You don't want to talk about 69 before you get too close to doing the 69. All right? Anyway. So, let's start with Patreon questions. So, FYI, if you guys aren't aware, there's multiple ways you can submit questions to get answered on the show. And since this is a holiday episode and maybe more people will be watching than usual, I should bring this up. You can either post up your questions on thekingofhate.com forums. That's my website. Already the thread is up there. You can post up your questions for the next episode, which will probably be in late February 2018. Or, if you're a patron of mine, right down here below here, if you pledge enough, which I believe that it's the $20 perk category, if you pledge $20 or more, you qualify to get your questions answered on the show, guaranteed. And you're going to see there's 3 or 4 people here who get their questions answered guaranteed because they were patrons of mine, which is pretty awesome, right? Pretty good perk. Or the day of the show, you have a very, very slim chance to get your questions answered if you follow me over on Twitter. I accept Twitter questions. And you'll see this show is a mix of patron questions, forum questions, and Twitter questions. Obviously, the best chance to get your question answered is being a patron, but I always try to pick the best questions that are either themed towards the show I'm doing or questions that I can answer entertainingly, whatever, for the show. So let's get started because I got a ton of stuff to get to, and we're already 5 minutes in. Sounds good? All right, folks. Here we go. First question, it's actually 5 questions from Nick. Nick went all out this month. Nick usually doesn't ask a ton of questions. He asked 5 questions this month. It's the holidays. Let's do it. Let's be nice to Nick. Let's answer his questions. All right. Not old Saint Nick, by the way. This is Nick, my, longtime viewer. All right. Number 1. Why do you think that people take longer to beat games in their childhood than when they're adults? I remember that certain games from when I was a kid taking up the majority of my childhood, but when I play them now, I can beat them in 1 to 3 sessions. Do you think that it's because we lack the skills to clear the games, or because we played less frequently, or because we had a lower attention span? It's all of the above. It's actually all of the above. When we were kids, number 1, you don't have as good hand-eye coordination as you develop over time, right? You haven't played as many video games as you do later, so you don't have that kind of experience under your belt to know what you're doing to tackle games. When you're a kid, you have free time, but do you have as much free time to dedicate to sit down and actually focus on a game? Because I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I would play games for like an hour or two, then I get bored and I want to do something else. It wasn't like today where I could sit down all day and play games nonstop. Back then, it was like, I want to go do something else. I don't want to do the same thing all day long. So for me, a lot of games that I was a kid, I would play them. Remember back then, a lot of games didn't even have saving, at least for me, growing up in the 80s and 90s, they didn't have save points. So I'm playing an NES game. I played for an hour. All right, well, I'm bored. I want to do something else. And the next time I play, I got to start from the beginning again. It's not like today where you're doing some long-ass RPG where you just start right where you left off, right? So it's a lot of different things. I would say, it's true because there's games that I've gone back now as an adult and I've now beaten them. When as a kid, they were like the bane of my existence and I couldn't beat them, right? But, let's face it, as you get older, you get wiser, you get better, right? That's the thing. That's what happens with experience and wisdom. You can become better at this stuff. So I think it's a pretty matter-of-fact kind of common sense answer there. Second question. Why do you return games after you finish them instead of keeping them in a collection and replaying them in the future? Even games with replay value get this treatment. Is the replay value in games these days not enough? What do game developers need to do to improve this? Well, the truth of the matter is, a few things here, folks. The truth of the matter is that at one point, I was a collector, and if there was a game that I really liked, I would hold on to it forever. Then, when I started doing this thing as a YouTube hobby, meaning between the years of 2008 through late 2010, I was just doing this as a hobby. I wasn't making any money making YouTube videos, all right? So any of the games that I bought to play in YouTube videos was money out of my pocket, and I wasn't making that back. So for me, when I started buying these games, I needed to trade them in a lot of cases in order to make some extra money to afford those games moving forward. All right. Then when I started doing this as a job in 2011, I admit I was trading in a lot of games because the thing was back then there were some pretty good trade-in deals. So for example, back then things were very different when you went to say GameStop. If you walked into GameStop with 5 games that were games from the past month, you could get upwards of more than half of the value of those games back. So I would come in with 5 games and I would walk out with like $200 of credit, if not more, in a lot of cases. It's not like that anymore. Now, every game has like a flat rate value at GameStop, and they're pretty bad trade-in values as well. It's very rare when you're going to get a high trade-in value for a game at GameStop. Now, the thing is, there's now a lot more competition. It used to be GameStop was the big company, and there really wasn't anyone else. Now, a lot of companies are doing trade-in, like Best Buy, for example, does trade-ins, and typically, their trade-in values are a little bit higher than GameStop's. So it is a different situation now where you can get a lot more money back when you trade in your games. However, I don't do that anymore. And in fact, I haven't done that since 2014, 2015 was probably the last time when I was buying the physical games and then trading them in. Now what I do is I get everything digitally. And you might say, but Phil, that doesn't make sense. Why get it digitally when you can't? Number one, you can't trade it back in. And number two, you don't get a cool collectible piece of swag. Number one, I don't need a collectible piece of swag. I don't have room for it. I'm not a collector anymore. I used to be a game collector. I'm not anymore. I don't. I have a limited space in my house. I don't want to have rooms and rooms full of fucking physical copies of video games like some YouTubers. They pose in front of them and act like it's some big fucking thing, like they have a giant dick because they have a room full of fucking old-ass games. I'm not saying it's not cool to do as a hobby, but I don't think that there's any kind of bragging rights because you have a big collection of games that you could easily play digitally anyway. I don't even understand that. I'd rather use my house for things that I could use my house for rather than have a whole room that's full of video games. I'm just saying. Number two, by getting the games digitally, I now have the rights to those games forever. So as long as Xbox Live, PlayStation Network exists, okay, I can play those games again. And by the way, I don't need to physically store the copies of those games. I'll give you a couple examples here, all right? Just recently, I played WWE 2K18. I played it when it was new in October, and I played through the career mode, and it was terrible. I played a couple sessions, got bored, deleted the game, because I wanted that space back on my PlayStation 4. Well, guess what? This coming weekend, I'm doing Holiday Sims. I've re-downloaded the game. I'm going to do the Holiday Sims, and then I'm going to delete the fucking game again. So you see what I mean? Like, let's say in 2-3 years, right, I want to do a second run of a game that I played in the past year or two. I own all those games digitally. I have the right to just go right back and re-download it and play it again instantly. I don't have to go get a physical copy off a shelf. I don't have to go buy another copy of the game because I bought it once. I own it forever digitally as long as these digital services exist. So for me, it actually makes a lot more sense. In fact, I'll be honest here. I'm pretty upset that I didn't get Bloodborne digitally. Because Bloodborne is a game that I played when it was brand new. Everyone liked it, right? And I want to play it again coming in 2018. I want to do a second run through Bloodborne so that while I'm playing Bloodborne, I'll be able to not only beat the game again without grinding, which was a big major criticism that people had of my first run in Bloodborne. How dare you, grind in the game you shouldn't have. And number two, I didn't do the Old Hunters DLC. I started it, never finished it because I got fooled into playing it New Game Plus and all that. So I want to do a second run through Bloodborne where I could do the Old Hunters DLC. If I had bought Bloodborne digitally, I'd just be able to download the game again right off the internet and play it. I didn't. I had a physical copy that I traded in, and now I have to go buy the fucking game again, which is lame. That's so lame that I have to do that. So that's why I've been doing this digital stuff recently. It just makes more sense for me, especially having a limited hard drive space and everything. You put on there what you're playing. When you're done with it, you get rid of it. It saves your save files in the cloud, so no skin off your back, right? And then when you need it later on, you could just resume, which is pretty cool. All right, so pretty sweet, right? I like that. And it's funny because I see someone in the stream chat calls it up, but does Phil know you don't actually own digital games? You don't actually own any games. Even when you physically buy a disc, you don't own that game. You own the rights to use that software for gameplay. That's what you own. You don't physically own that game. You don't. When you trade that in, you're trading in the rights to play that game to someone else. So it's the same exact thing. Whether you own the physical disc or not, especially in this era of consoles, when you have a physical disc, it means nothing because all you do, you put the disc in your system and it installs exactly the same data that would have installed if you bought it digitally. It's exactly the same thing. The only difference is you get trade-in value if you have the physical disc. But for me, it benefits me more at this point to get them digitally. Plus, I don't have to make a separate trip. See, GameStop used to be close to me. My local GameStop when I lived in Connecticut was not even 10 minutes away. So I could go in the morning, get the games, come right back. My GameStop now is like 20 to 25 minutes away. So for me to drive all the way out to like the mall to get a game and come back isn't even worth it. So it's better to do the digital for me these days. Okay. And by the way, Slow Joe says, by the way, try playing a physical copy without a patch so when the service goes down, all you can do is wipe your ass with the disc. Well, by the way, Hank Duma just left me a $25 tip. Thank you, Hank Duma. He says, maybe Santa Claus will leave you a nice tip on Monday. Here's a small tip from the support you with your tax troubles. Wishing you, your loved ones, and all viewers, fans, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you, Hank. Hank, a longtime viewer, longtime fan, longtime patron, longtime supporter. Thank you, Hank, for that support and the holiday message. Really do appreciate it. Thank you to Atlas Telemon, who did a 50-bit cheer. And he said something in a language that I cannot understand. Ik ben niet de Nederlander here. I tried. I probably failed miserably. But thank you nonetheless for the cheer, Atlas Telemon. All right, on to Nick's next question. I told you, Nick went crazy this time. Okay? Which games besides Fighters have you played the most? What did they have that got you hooked? Games that I've played the most over the years. Definitely the classic Mario games like Super Mario Brothers 2 and 3, as well as Super Mario World, Zelda, Link to the Past, Final Fantasy 4 and 6, Chrono Trigger, Resident Evil 1 I've now played quite a bunch of times, I would say, in various iterations, the original and then the remakes and stuff. Obviously, you said outside of Fighters, so let's write those off. No Fighters included. I would say it would be last console gen. It would be games like Mass Effect 1. I replayed that game like 6 times. I loved it so much. I would still, to this day, right now, I would drop everything and go play Mass Effect 1 again. If I just love that game. Even though I know over the years it doesn't feel as good because, you know, we have modernization and the games progressed and everything. I still like that game. I would still go back and play it right now. I seriously would. Those are probably the games I've played the most. Why? Because they just, you know, for whatever reason, great plots, absolutely. Every one of the games I mentioned have great plots. Except I say for the Mario games, but Mario games have such pure gameplay, right? They just all had some kind of a hook, something that made it was addictive and made me want to go back and hunger to play them again. God, would I love to play Final Fantasy IV. I have it. I bought it on the Nintendo 3DS last year, and I was going to do it in 2017, and I never got around to it. I would love to do Final Fantasy IV. Secret of Mana is being remade for modern games, modern consoles. I'm going to play that, I think. That's going to be cool. A lot, you know, it sucks. I haven't had a chance to go back. Now that I do this for a living, I really haven't gone back and played the games that I would have replayed. It's been a long time, right? What was the last time I played Link to the Past? Summer of 2012? Typically, those were games that I would pick up every few years and play again, and I just haven't played them because I'm so busy with all kinds of stuff. What I would tell you is this. If I were ever to do, say, a charity drive, let's say I were to do a special charity stream or something, I would probably go back and play one of those games, like Mario World, or Zelda Link to the Past, or Mass Effect 1. Those would be games, I've played them so much that I can just enjoy them at face value. And yes, I'll still fail and die, but I'll still have fun doing it. And it would be a lot of fun to motivate people to pledge to like a charity or something, right? So those are probably the kind of games that I would play for something like that. All right. Question number 4 from Nick. He says, what are your thoughts on games that have no end, such as Minecraft and The Sims? Do you think that is a clever way to add replay value? Listen, there's different kind of games. Video games have never been or let me say that again. I screwed up. Video games were never clearly defined as a game that has a definitive end. In fact, if you look at most classic video games, they don't have an end. They're based on high score, right? The most classic video game, Donkey Kong, there's no end. You just keep playing till you get the high score, right? And that's what they used to be. Games used to be score-based. There was no narrative that ended at the end or whatever. And then over the years, games became more narrative-based, more story-based, and they started having definitive endings, per se. There's nothing wrong with having a video game that has no end. Look at a game like Minecraft. There technically is an end. What it is, you have to go to the Ether or whatever. You fight the Ether Dragon. You beat that. And there's two, where's the other one? The Nether and the Ether. The two different areas or whatever they are. And you do that stuff. So there is a kind of end game content in Minecraft. But ultimately, Minecraft is a game that's made for you to do whatever you want. You be creative, and you make it whatever you want of it. If you want to be a master builder and do these gigantic creative things, you could do it. Or if you want to play it more of a survival game, where all you really care about is beating, the dragon or whatever at the end, you could play it like that. And you know what I mean? And that's good. The Sims never had an ending. The Sims is all about life, ongoing life, right? Simulating actual life. It doesn't have to have an ending because you can always infinitely create more people and more Sims to simulate in them. There's nothing wrong with that model at all, whatsoever. As long as people know what they're getting into when they buy those games, and not that they get fooled into thinking that they're doing one thing and then they buy, oh man, this is just a never-ending game, and I get addicted to it and I keep sinking money into it. That's kind of the slippery slope, especially, I'll say this, with mobile games. Because most mobile games don't have a definitive ending. You just constantly grind and play to earn more in-game content, more cards or characters or whatever. So it's an infinite money sink with no actual end game where you'll ever stop investing money in it. And that's why mobile games make so much money. So as long as you know what you're getting into and you don't get addicted to these kind of games with no end, all right, then they're okay. Okay. And last but not least, the final question from Nick, then we can get on to other people's questions. I noticed a long time ago, back before when YouTube made changes to the channel pages, that your channel was actually classified as a comedy channel rather than a gameplay one. In addition, back in the day, you mentioned that you identified that your content is your commentary, while the games themselves were simply the subject matter. From 2012 to 2016, your gimmick seems to have shifted to being a gaming journalist with ideas for countdowns and reviews. Now in 2017, you refer to yourself as just a gamer and nothing else. What caused these shifts in how you view your content? Do you predict that this will change again in the future? All right. First question he asked there is, the old YouTube channel system, I was classified as a comedian. That's correct. But the reason I was classified as a comedian is because gaming was not a subject you could classify your YouTube channel as. Yeah, that's true. Back when I started on YouTube in 2008 through 2011, there wasn't even gaming didn't exist. You couldn't classify, you couldn't even classify your videos as gaming. That didn't exist. It was like vlogging, news, sports, comedy, entertainment. You know what I mean? So you had to kind of fit yourself in to a certain genre. And for me, comedy, I mean, people are watching my stuff to laugh and have fun and enjoy my gameplay. They're not watching for in-depth, detailed analysis of a game. You know what I mean? So for me, I was a comedian. You know what I mean? And then once they finally added in gaming as a classification of video, as a tag, as a way to classify your channel, then I switched everything over to gaming. Okay? So no, it wasn't that I saw myself as a comedian, although I'll be honest. Yes, the reason that a lot of people watch me is my improv commentary, how I react to gameplay and how I react to stuff that happens in video games. Technically, it is improv comedy and reactions. That's exactly what it is. That's people come to see me, but I wouldn't consider myself a comedian. Am I a funny guy? Yeah, people tell me that all the time, but no, by no means am I a stand-up comedian who's going to come out here and tell jokes or anything like that. No. And I don't do scripted comedy either. Everything I do is live and on the fly, okay? By the way, thank you, Atlas Telemon, for another 50-bit cheer. He says that was a pretty good pronunciation of what I read earlier from his other cheer. Now, Nick says from 2012 to 2016, it seems my gimmick was being a gaming journalist. I don't agree with that at all. What happened was, in 2012, basically, I got a bunch of feedback from my viewers, and my viewers were telling me, Phil, we love your raw gameplay, but it's getting stale. You're doing the same thing constantly over and over, okay? You're really not updating yourself at all. In fact, keep in mind, into 2012, I was still using a camera. I hadn't even adopted direct capture yet, while most people doing gameplay were now direct capturing their footage. And basically, I was being called a dinosaur. I was, you're the dinosaur gamer of YouTube, even though, yeah, you were popular 2-3 years ago, doing it this way, you're not going to continue to be popular unless you evolve, okay? And what people told me is they not only wanted to see the raw gameplay, but they wanted to see better in-depth reviews. They wanted to see countdowns. They wanted to see better content in that regard. And let's face it, folks, if you look at YouTube, what happened? Most people who still do YouTube and are gamers full-time do not put out raw gameplay footage like I do. They sit there and they edit their videos to make montages and to make the best of and to make highlights of the funniest moments rather than just raw gameplay. The raw gameplay formula really has left YouTube in a lot of ways and gone over to Twitch. If you want to see raw gameplay, you come to Twitch and you watch a streamer play a game raw, right? Because I can't edit the game on the fly. You got to watch the raw gameplay. Now, yeah, there's other things that come into play with Twitch as well, like interactivity or whatever. But yeah, it kind of lost popularity on YouTube. And look at me. I mean, look at my popularity. It went down because I just kept doing what I was doing while everyone else was changing up their formulas. And I didn't want to change my formula. I did not want to do edited gameplay. I liked doing it raw style because, boy, that did not sound right. If someone's going to take that clip out of context. I like doing it. Anyway. You know what I mean? I did it raw, unedited, and other people started doing edited, and they blew up, and I didn't. Okay, whatever. So, I did start to branch out because I saw, geez, everyone else is doing something differently. I don't want to do it like that. Let me try other stuff. So I did better reviews, right, and stuff like that. KO Gaming last year was a huge experiment that actually succeeded and would have continued to grow if YouTube didn't completely shut down the channel this year, because they did. YouTube basically now has prevented me from doing edited content on YouTube because everything gets demonetized. KO Gaming has been red flagged as a demonetized channel, and any video I upload to KO Gaming immediately gets demonetized. So there's no reason for me to do edited content on YouTube ever again. So YouTube literally made the decision for me and said, Phil, fuck it, don't do edited content anymore. Just keep doing your raw stuff like you've always done. And it's worked out for me because on DSP Gaming, very few videos ever get demonetized. While some people who only upload one video a day and it's all edited, almost all their videos get demonetized. So you have channels out there that used to get hundreds of thousands of views and were making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year that are now making $5,000 to $10,000 a year because YouTube demonetizes all their shit. Versus DSP Gaming, I've barely been affected by demonetization, which is great. But why? Because I do raw gameplay. For whatever reason, it doesn't really get demonetized that much. So somehow my formula has magically worked, okay? Now, in addition, because YouTube ad revenue plummeted this year and I adopted more of a streaming atmosphere, I was already on board for that. I've been doing raw, unedited gameplay for how long? So I was geared up to do a full-time streamer gig already. All I needed to do was adopt things like giving shout outs and stuff for cheer subs and tips. So really, everything I've done over the years, even though I didn't intend it to work out this way, literally aligned itself to work out the way that it has, okay? And there's been many evolutions. The raw commentary that was more comedy based. Oh, now I'm going to try to shift it to be more edited content based. Well, now back to raw. I got to go with the flow. Whatever's popular, whatever works, right? If I want to keep doing this for as a living and what I'm doing, I have to adjust and adapt, right? And that's what I mean. So now Nick says, well, how do I predict it'll change again in the future? I don't know. Are you guys aware? You may not have heard this. I'm surprised if no one asked this. Supposedly there's a leak or rumors. Amazon is going to compete with YouTube directly. Amazon has filed a patent for a website where they want to do on-demand videos exclusively. It sounds like Amazon, after literally defeating YouTube in the live streaming venture, because they have. Twitch is far better and way more well-regarded and well-respected than YouTube is for live streaming. Now Amazon might be taking on YouTube, right? Now imagine that. Imagine now if you now finally have a company. Amazon is filthy fucking rich, folks. Finally, we may have a company that can compete with YouTube. Finally, they'll have the capacity for server space. They'll be able to do the same shit YouTube does, but Amazon's a better company. I'm sorry, they are. Amazon overall, look at the things they've done on Twitch, how much they're in line with gamers, in line with popular culture. If they don't have things like flagging demonetizations and content IDs and copyright strike abuse and shit like that, dudes, YouTube's done. In which case, it's the Wild West again. Everyone's going to be lifting their content off of YouTube and say, fuck this piece of shit. And they're going to be running to this new Amazon site, whatever it's going to be. Okay? And then, what's going to happen? It could be the Wild West again. Maybe raw gameplay will become popular again. Who knows? You never know. You can't predict this stuff, folks. You can't. This industry has been so crazy. The gaming industry and coverage of gaming and gaming culture has been so crazy in the last 10 years. There's no way to predict what's going to happen. I mean, I'll tell you right now, guys, I'm going to Amazon. If they make a website and it can be as profitable as YouTube is, fuck YouTube. I'm done with them. I'm so done with this company that does not give a fuck about me. I'm going over to a company that, since... I've been doing this full-time streaming on Twitch. I've been welcomed with open arms and treated with nothing but the utmost respect from Twitch and Amazon. Why on earth would I care about YouTube anymore? Seriously. So, there you go. Alrighty, folks. Alright, apparently I got a troll cheer. I thought it was serious. It's not. It looks like a troll cheer. So, I'm just going to go ahead and ignore that. Stupid. All right, let's do more Patreon questions. Let's see how many. Maybe we could do all the Patreon questions in one part here. Will you cover Street Fighter V Arcade Edition when it hits just for one session? It was great to see you play Street Fighter 2 earlier this year, and that's from Timic83. Ladies and gentlemen, let's try this again. All right, let's try this again. No, 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 no. 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 Well, no. No. Under no circumstance, under no condition, absolutely not, positively not, nada, nilch, nihil, mal, no mas, no, I am not playing Street Fighter V again. All right, one more time, just so everyone understands. Ready? Everyone, hold on. Hold on. No. I am not playing Street Fighter V ever again. Under no circumstances. I did not enjoy the game when it was new. I did not enjoy the game after they patched it and put in DLC characters. I didn't play it all for 2017. I'm not playing Street Fighter V again. Now, you may say, but that's a bad attitude to have. Why? Here's the bottom line, folks. This is what a lot of people don't understand about fighting games. So this is actually, I'm glad Timmick asked this question. Allow me to really explain my real reasoning behind why I'm not going to play Street Fighter V again. All right. Here's really why. Even if there was a real reason. Oh my God, Phil, did you hear they completely changed Street Fighter V? Now it plays like Super Turbo. Folks, when you play a competitive fighting game, all right, if you really want to hang in that game, meaning you want to be at a competitive level and be able to beat people, and even understand the meta, meaning the big high-level competitive gameplay of that game, you need to be playing it from day one. Now, I played Street Fighter V from day one, and I played it from February 2016 until, the summer of 2016? I think it was when Urian was released, was the last character who I played with or whatever, and then I stopped playing the game. And I just really didn't give a shit about it after that. I didn't play any of the DLCs of the other characters that were added. I didn't see any. I've literally have not seen a match of Street Fighter V except Arturo, because Arturo Sanchez Sabin, I host him here on this channel sometimes. So I've seen him play a little bit with Dalzim, and that's it. That's all I've seen, okay? So for me to get back into Street Fighter V, no lie, I would have to invest so much time and effort to learn the game engine again. First of all, the game has way less input delay now than it did when I first played it. The characters have changed. The combos have changed. Everything has changed. It would be like starting a new fighting game over again from the start. But the problem is, there will be people who have 2 years of experience more than me. That's nearly impossible to do. It's almost impossible when you're years behind to jump into a fighting game midlife and be at a high level from those who are already been playing the game all along. It really is almost impossible. The only way that I'd be able to do it is if I invested a ridiculous amount of time and effort into it, which I'm not willing to do. You guys know I'm a variety streamer. I'm a variety gamer. When I make videos and play on stream, I play a variety of stuff. You guys don't want to sit here and watch me play Street Fighter V exclusively for 2 months so that I can get back into the, you know what I mean, into the swing of things. It doesn't make any sense. No one wants to see that. So no, I'm not playing Street Fighter V. If I did, it would literally be a waste of my time because I would have to relearn the entire game from the ground up, and I don't want to do that. I would much rather focus on the new game. What new fighting games are coming out next year? Dragon Ball FighterZ, Fighting Layer EX, Soul Calibur 6. That's just 3, and I'm sure there's going to be more. Focus on the new stuff. I don't care about the 2-year-old game that was a massive failure and Capcom fucked it up, and now Capcom has to find a way to, make stuff popular again. It's funny because MVC Infinite was popular for about 3 months, and it's dying already. People are already saying in droves. Even the hardcore fighting game community are saying the game's not nearly as good as Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was. Really just seems like a cash-in. And by the way, there's rumors Capcom won't even be supporting it after this first slew of DLC characters is done. They may not even be like updating it anymore. So, you know what I mean? So look at the games that Capcom's putting out. Why would I go back to them or put time or effort into them? You know what I mean? I really think Capcom has lost their way when it comes to fighters, and they really need to find a way to come back. 'Cause everyone else is doing it better than them. Honestly, they are. Everyone else is doing it better than Capcom right now. Okay. So hold on, a few things to give shout outs to. Nick did another dollar tip, and he said Twitch and Amazon are smart enough that when they detect music in a video, they only mute the portion that the music is in. Dude, I'm telling you. Twitch, Amazon, they're doing it right. And a lot of people were very skeptical when Amazon bought Twitch. They've been doing it right, folks. Like I said, the year that I've now been back on Twitch streaming, I could not be happier. I've gotten support from Twitch, opportunities from Twitch. They've directly helped me with things. Like, it's the complete polar opposite of the bigwig corporate mentality that fucking YouTube has. And that's why, if they really do make a video sharing website, dudes, say goodbye to YouTube. I'm serious. You know what YouTube's going to become? All drama videos and all vloggers, and that's it. You'll have no other content on YouTube. Everyone's going to go to the Amazon site. Atlas Telemon did a 50-bit cheer. He says, what if they introduce DJ? No, I'm not playing Street Fighter V. No. Okay. Atlas Telemon also did a 15-bit cheer and says, Sabin is the best Dalzim. I believe that. I've seen him. He's pretty damn good. Kekken did a 25-bit cheer. He says they made a second set of trials for the new combos in Street Fighter V. Well, I don't care. And then he did another 10-bit cheer, and he said, Tekken 7, I can give you a crash course. Nah, Tekken 7's fun, and Tekken's a good game. Don't get me wrong, Tekken's a competitive game, fun. For me, honestly, typically, I don't like games. You get one random hit. Oh, I got a counter hit. Oh, juggle, 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 juggle. Lands on the ground. OTG. Juggle, 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 juggle. Oh, now it's a 50-50 as you wake up. Hit you. Juggle, 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 juggle. Oh, you lost 80% health. Oh, now the fight really begins. I honestly don't like games like that. And Classic Tekken didn't used to be like that. Classic Tekken played a lot more like Classic Street Fighter. But then I'd say it was around Tekken 4 and 5 that the game became Juggle Fest. And when it became Juggle Fest, I still like the game and I respect it, but it's not a game that I would want to play at a high competitive level. Let's put it that way. So no, I'm probably not going to get back into Tekken 7. Oh my God. Booty Call Me. Thank you for the 100-bit cheer, but as I said at the beginning of the show, please, guys, don't spam me with a million questions. He literally had a paragraph question. Guys, this is Ask the King. The purpose of this show is for me to answer your questions already. Cheering and then asking giant questions, you're not going to get your questions answered. Little quick things or comments on what I'm answering, yes. Giant paragraph questions like Booty Call Me just did, no, I'm not going to be answering that. So thank you for the 100-bit cheer, Booty Call Me, but sorry, maybe you weren't here for pre-stream. I can't interrupt the entire show to answer people's questions. That's the purpose of the show, is to answer these already asked questions. Okay, on to the next one. Phil, will you go back to Salte? Hold on a second. I don't have the stream chat open. All right. Phil, will you go back to Salty Saturday Ultra Street Fighter 2 in anticipation for the 30th Anniversary Collection Edition at Street Fighter Games? I don't know. I mean, if there's a reinvigoration of people playing that on the Switch before the Anniversary Collection comes out in May of 2018, yeah, maybe I'd play it for a session or two. But I'll be real honest with you guys. That game was not good. Ultra Street Fighter 2 is not good. The connections are absolutely terrible. Having Akuma as a selectable character in ranked matches is fucking asinine. Anyone who's ever played that game competitively, immediately when they saw that, said, are you fucking retarded, Capcom? Like, how dumb can you fucking be to think that that was legitimate, to have Akuma in ranked matches? You are dumb as fuck. And honestly, I think I might just want to wait to play the better version that's coming out in May. I hope, knock on wood, that the version is better, because if it's as bad as that, oh my God. But no, I don't think I'm going to be going back to that. For what platform will you buy the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection, and will the choice be led by good online connectivity, playability, or netcode? And also, do you think you'll be playing Super Turbo long enough in it so that you'll get a top 100 ranking? That was all from Atlas Telemon, by the way. He asked all three of those questions. He's been cheering, and also he asked a really good question. The answer to your question really is going to depend on how good this version of the game is. For those who don't know, a little bit of history. Capcom has been releasing versions of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That's the game that I'm the best at. All right, out of all Street Fighter games, that's the one that I'm the best at. And I'm not I'm the best player overall. I mean, that's the game I'm the best competitively playing in. It's the game that if I'm going to play in a tournament, I could place high at it. Okay. There's been a million versions of this game released. I'm not even exaggerating. Here's the versions. There's been a Dreamcast version, a PlayStation 1 version, multiple PS2 versions. With HD Remix, Xbox 360, and a PS3 version, right? Now you got a version on the Nintendo Switch. Not one of these versions was arcade perfect. Not one. All of them had different nuances or problems that made them different, whether it was the sprites don't line up and the hitboxes are different. The speed of the game runs dramatically different. There's too much input delay from when you push the button and when your move comes out in the game. Every single time they've tried to port this game, there's been drastic differences from the hardcore arcade version that everyone played in the 1990s as a competitive game and the actual console version that's been released, okay? So do I have faith that just because Capcom came out and said, we're going to do arcade perfect versions of all these games finally? I mean, we've only been trying it for 20 years. We're finally going to get it right. I don't really have confidence, especially like I said, look at what Capcom's been doing recently. Even their modern new games aren't very good. Now you're going to tell me they're going to find a way to magically, after 20 years, perfectly port these fucking games? I don't know. I'm very, 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 very skeptical that this Anniversary Collection is going to have perfect versions of these games, all right? Now, that being said, okay, I would like to play a version of Super Turbo on a modernized console where people will actually jump in and try to learn the game, because here's the thing, all right? This happened once before with Super Street Fighter 2 HD Remix. Guess what? I got a ton of popularity on YouTube for it. I don't know if you guys remember back then. That was when I just started on YouTube. But a lot of people found me through my fighting game videos of Super Turbo because they were like, wow, Phil's really good. And look at all the stuff he's doing in the game. And he can teach you how to do shit, right? That game, I could teach you a ton of shit at a competitive level. I could, because I've played it more than probably any other fighting game. And you know, I would love to play Super Turbo again at a competitive level. Now, keep in mind, online play, there's going to be lag, and there's always going to be issues. But to play that game and have fun with it, unlike Ultra Street Fighter 2, where, yeah, I did play it at a high level during the summer this year, but the matches were so bad, and I was playing on a fucking controller that was first trying to play it on the Joy-Cons, and then I was trying to play it with this fucking, controller. And then, by the way, the Nico was so bad you couldn't even get your moves out half the time. To be able to play it on a joystick, my Real Arcade Pro 4, on a PS4, you know what I mean, and get responsiveness, it's going to be a whole different animal. And there's going to be so many more people, I'm telling you, who are going to buy this game for modern consoles rather than the Switch, which was just, if you own the Switch, it's the only fighting game, so a ton of people bought it, but they weren't fighting game players. This could be a reinvigoration of the old school Street Fighter scene again. I guarantee you're going to have tournaments and stuff for it again. As long as the version isn't a piece of garbage, you may see a reinvigoration in the old games again, which is always nice to have. So that being said, yeah, I'm very excited. Would I love to play Super Turbo at a high level again and even make top 100? Absolutely. Will I? Yeah. Let's see how this version turns out. Because imagine if I had made that kind of promise with Ultra Street Fighter 2. Oh my god. Dude, the top players in that game literally don't even understand fighting games. They were all Kuma spammers. They were all had horrible internet connections on purpose. They purposely made their internet bad and just threw air fireballs all day. And you couldn't even do anything against it. So who knows what crazy decisions Capcom's going to fucking make with this new version, right? I don't even want, again, as much as I would like to promise you guys, oh yeah, I'm coming back. This is the big resurgence for DSP. I can't even do that. Because I can't have confidence in Capcom to make a viable version of this game. Let's play it by ear. Let's see what happens. By the way, when this comes out in May 2018 is going to be so hot. For me, in particular, I love Third Strike. I love Super Turbo. I love Hyper Fighting, which is the other game that has online play. Not CVS 2, excuse me. Boy, I'm an idiot. Street Fighter Alpha 3, that's the one game in the collection that has online play that I'm not too great at, and I never really liked it that much. I'll play it, but I'm not great at it, and I admit openly I'm going to probably get destroyed by people who learn that game at a high level and know all the V-ism combos and everything. But the other game, I would love to play Third Strike again online. If this is a better version, fuck, man. I would love to play Hyper Fighting. That game is broken as fuck, dude. That game is so much fun because it's so broken. There's so many characters. Zangief can SPD you, Super Spinning Pile Driver you, from like so far away in that game. It's nuts. So... yeah, I'm pumped. I cannot wait for this collection. Even if it sucks, at least I'll get a few weeks of content out of it and have a lot of fun. If the game's amazing and the online play's good and these are great versions of the games, this could be a resurgence of fighting games for me because these are games I actually played in the past that I'm good at. It could be almost like when I started on YouTube in 2008 again. It really could be. So let's see what happens. Okay. Final question here from a patron is actually from Brightside Viking. And he asks, hey, Phil, hope you're enjoying your Christmas. It's exciting going... let's try that again. It's exciting going into the height of the season. This is when most people have a few days off of work and they get to spend time with close friends and family. I usually just have a very normal Christmas celebrating with my family, except for one year where there was a Christmas cruise between Norway and Denmark. Oh, wow. Have you had any unusual Christmas celebrations? No, I really haven't. Most of my Christmases for my life has always been spent at home with my family, like my parents and or, my other extent. When I was younger, I spent Christmas with my extended family, where I would go to my great aunt's house, who kind of was like my grandmother because I never met my real grandparents. And she would, have a big family get together. Me and my parents and my cousin, plus my godparents, their 3 kids, plus the extended families of all that. So literally like 20, 30 people in a house, celebrating Christmas Eve together, giving presents, eating, drinking, everything. Real fun. And then Christmas Day, I would open up my presents with my parents, but then we'd go and visit other family members, and then we'd have a big Christmas dinner. So that was my early Christmas. Then, sadly, my family kind of had a falling out, and then every Christmas it would just be spent with my parents. And then when I moved to Washington, it was always obviously spent with my ex-girlfriend. This is the first Christmas I'm going to be alone in my entire life. I know, I'm 35 years old. That's sad, right? But at the same time, I'm going to be doing Christmas-themed content all day on Christmas, hopefully spending time with some of you guys who also maybe have time to spare that day. So hopefully this year it won't be so lonely. It sucks, but I mean, there's always a silver lining, right? I got a girlfriend now. She can't be with me for Christmas, but maybe next Christmas we'll be together, right? There you go. Do I have any crazy... The only funny story I can think of when it comes to Christmas, like something weird that happened, there was one year when I worked my office job where they had an office Christmas party. Now, this was the week of Christmas, like earlier that week of Christmas. And I went and I had a few drinks. I had some food or whatever. That was the first time I actually had a roast beef, like cooked, slow cooked, and dipped it in like horseradish sauce. It was the first time in my life I ever had that. I was like, my God, this is really good. Keep in mind, this was like 10 years ago, okay? And there was a few people who got so fucking drunk at this Christmas party. I'm not even kidding. Like 2 or 3 people. And they were fucking coming on to people. There was rumors that people were having sex in the bathrooms. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you got to think of it this way. Work is work. Pleasure is pleasure. Sometimes you can mix the two, right? But when you have like an office job, do you really want that job to become, well, I went and I acted like an asshole at the Christmas party last night. And then I have to come into work the next day or maybe not the next day because usually they had the Christmas party on a Friday. But you got to come into work on Monday and everyone's talking about you because you had sex with a coworker when you were both drunk. You know what I mean? Like, or you were acting a fool, you vomited at the Christmas party. Like, who the fuck wants to put up with that? And I don't even understand, like, why. There was no logic going on up here during the course of the Christmas party that people would act like that. You know what I mean? Like, the last thing you want to be is the laughing stock of your job that you have to go back to. This is your work where you have to go back and earn a paycheck. And now you're going to have to do that. It's like the walk of shame on Monday walking into work. Like, ha ha, look what you did last week, right? So, I only went to 2 different Christmas parties. I only went to 2 different Christmas parties for work, and both of them I literally purposely only had maybe like 1 drink. I was more relaxed and more reserved and didn't go crazy. I never understood people that do that. All right, some quick shout-outs, and then we're going to take a break. So some quick shout-outs here. Kekin did a 10-bit cheer, and he asks, Arcade Perfect Super Turbo, is it 2 or 3? You know what? There's no answer to that. There literally is no answer. So if you guys don't know what that means, in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, again, the game that I'm, the best at when it comes to competitive fighting games, when you play the game, the arcade version, all right, there were 2 different settings in game. You could either set it so that the game just by default is set to a certain gameplay speed, or you could have it what's called free select, meaning when you select your character on the select screen, then the game has a new option. What game speed do you want to play on? 1, 2, or 3? Okay? 1 was slow as dick. It was like slow-mo. 2 and 3, people disagree on what is the actual correct speed to play the game at. And the reason they disagree is because in Japan, by default, they had it set to 1 speed. And then in the US and other territories, it was set to a different speed. So worldwide, people who played this game competitively played it at different speeds. So there is actually no agreed upon 100% definitive speed that's correct when it comes to Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. There's always going to be a discrepancy because it wasn't designed to have a default speed in mind when the game was released worldwide. So that being said, all right, for that being said, I played Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo at Turbo 2 when it first came out in US arcades, and honestly, I thought the game was slow. I thought that Hyper Fighting, which was 2 versions before, was a much faster and better game. Then when I started playing the World version that plays at Turbo 3, I thought the game played better. I thought the game, as a faster-paced game, actually is a better game. So for me, I actually like the game faster, but there's people who, to this day, they swear you got to play on Turbo 2 or Speed 2 or whatever. So, Ponage101, give me a $5 tip. Thank you, Ponage. He says, if Amazon does compete with YouTube, then it would be a fresh new start for you if you leave YouTube, and I want to see that happen. Dude, seriously, right? Because guess what? I could go over there, it would be everything would be square one, right? Now, it would be a pain in the ass to get my YouTube viewers to move over, but I'd have to find a way to convince them. Or, what extra work is it really for me to upload my videos to 2 sites? Not too much extra work, so maybe temporarily I upload to both sites, right? And then maybe eventually I bring it over. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I don't know. We'll have to see. Because here's the other thing which you guys don't realize. there may be restrictions. Now that you have a direct competitor to YouTube, it may say on this new Amazon site or on YouTube or both, if you have your videos with ads on our site, you can't run it with ads on any other site because we own exclusive advertisement rights to these videos once you upload them. So maybe I have to now make a tough decision. Do I upload only to the new Amazon site, or do I upload only to YouTube, or do I do both? That's going to be a tough one, folks, but we'll see. The good news is, the real good news here, since this year I have tried to convert over. All right. I've tried to convert over to more of a streaming atmosphere. My focus is more on Twitch. Okay. So worst comes to worst, if my on-demand videos take a hit, my Twitch is on the up and up, on the rise. So here's hoping that things will actually, work out well. Okay. Either way. Culverus did a 30-bit cheer and he says, DSP goes sneaker shopping with Complex. I don't know what the hell that means. Right over the head. Whee! Right over my head. And Flix tipped me $1. And Flix says, could you please make tutorial videos for Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo when the port is out and help newcomers like me? You know what? Sounds like a plan. Maybe, right? Maybe what I can do in the lab videos for every character in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Right? From someone who's played the game in arcades the day it was released, right? Now, I'm not going to be top level with every character, but I can at least teach you tricks and tips and everything, ins and outs. Okay. Good idea. Good suggestion. Thank you, Flix. I'll keep it in mind. All right. Wow. Excuse me. A good burp to start there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for a break. It's time for our first break of Ask the King Holiday Special 2017. If you're watching on stream, hang back for about 10 minutes or so as I take a break, all right? If you're watching on YouTube, I'm just going to end this part and check out part 2 and 3, all right? Thank you, everyone, so far for your support. Cheers. Tips have been good. Thank you, everyone, and let's keep going, all right? So I'll be back shortly with forum questions, and then we'll keep going. So thanks, everyone. Happy holidays. I'll see you in a bit.